Hi, I'm Samantha, and this is Off the Record. So today I'm speaking to Danayi Chapfika, an up-and-coming Zimbabwean designer. I think that I met her last year actually, and I liked just that whole different thing, thinking outside the box vibe about her, and I was so intrigued in finding out about what she's doing. So we're actually here at her studio. We're going to go in, talk to her, find out who is Danayi Chapfika, creator of Haus of Stone, the lady who actually dressed me today. So come on, let's go.
Danayi Chapfika is an emerging Zimbabwean fashion designer, founder and creative director of the label Haus of Stone. Danayi's fashion journey began in 2010 when she enrolled into Lysop in Johannesburg, South Africa, which she then graduated from in 2012. She relocated from South Africa to Zimbabwe at the beginning of April 2014 to work on her label Haus of Stone.
Danayi, thank you so much for coming on to Off the Record.
Thanks for having me.
When did fashion and Danayi meet and fall in love?
I think my whole life I really loved fashion, but I think it started from my older sister.
Okay.
I loved her sense of style, like she was very cool and always on trend. I chose to take it seriously when I returned back from Australia, and I was actually an art director for a graphic design agency.
When did you come back from Australia?
If I remember correctly, it was in 2009. I came back for a year and I worked. I launched a magazine even in that period of time. And then eventually I decided, look, I keep gravitating towards designers, South Shore designers. And I bumped into this international designer from Ghana called Danayi Chapfika. I hope I pronounced the name properly. Very much, I think African people was so different for the time that we were in. It's not like now it's everywhere. It's just people are familiar with it. It was just so unique. I said, look, if another African from Nigeria, because my perspective was, people, things are hard back then. I also fell in love with a couple of self-taught local designers, Scar being one of them, and the other one being Trish Carmen. So I was like, look, they're self-taught, there's that woman from Nigeria, I love this stuff, I want to create, I have ideas. And I decided, let me go and study. It's so funny, like I feel like I've never had that classic style icon that I looked up to ever. I think most of my style was just, it was governed by media, I suppose, what I saw on television and maybe how I saw my sister and her friends dressing. But yeah, back then I didn't have one. I probably would say I probably adopted the idea of an style idol now.
Much later.
Yeah.
So Haus of Stone, where did that name come from?
Basically it's almost like a direct translation of what Zimbabwe means, Zimbabwe, right?
Okay.
And
I had an inkling.
Yeah, and I wanted to reflect where I was from, something that had like a strength about it. And Haus of Stone, like who doesn't want to make their stuff like solid, strong foundation.
It sounds very elegant and very earthy at the same time.
Yeah, so and it sounded powerful. I've always been kind of obsessed with something to do with royalty.
Danayi's travels and cultural identity have often been a source of inspiration for her ranges, along with the vintage aesthetics.
People want to just group Africans as being one way.
Yeah.
But now we're like part of a global society, we're part of that global community. And I feel to say that Africans in the 21st century are just this way, always wear African print, and I'm trying to say just box us?
Yeah.
It's wrong. Because I feel like there's so many different experiences. Culture definitely influenced me. Even when I was in Ghana, like the spirit of the people is what I try to depict in my clothing more than anything else. Is those people are just bold, but they're so welcoming and friendly. They're probably similar to the Australians in the sense that they're very welcoming and opening. I want my clothing to have that energy about it, where it's still strong, but it's opening and welcoming and it's for everyone, it's diverse.
Danayi credits education as a crucial aspect of any endeavor. After graduation, she went to work for one of South Africa's leading luxury fashion brands as a regional visual merchandiser.
In life, we're always learning, we keep learning, whether it's formal or self-taught learning. I think people must make the conscious effort to want to learn more about their trade. If you can do it through going to an institute, that's fantastic. If you don't have the means, just take matters into your own hand. Go online, try to learn a new skill.
Prior to studying fashion though, Danayi was a double major in film and advertising. Being a creative trained in multiple disciplines has proven advantageous for Danayi, who also dabbles in graphic designing, filmmaking and other visual mediums.
Strangely enough, all the careers I've chosen have somehow come together at some point.
Yeah, they do.
So it wasn't like I have completely left all that stuff behind. I did the creative advertising. I still use that stuff up until today. Sometimes I do freelance graphic design. Sometimes I even use it with my own House of Stone stuff. With the film aspect, I had the opportunity of creating a short mini behind-the-scenes documentary with Amanda, who now formally goes as Ama.
After how long after you studied Lysoff and everything did House of Stone come about?
I came back to Zim, I was thinking, I want to sell myself, how can I market? And then, just by the grace of God, basically, my friend mentioned to me Style by Africa pop-up garden party.
Okay.
And I was back after my graduation, the same December in 2012. And basically, he was inviting me to come and like check out stuff. But I was thinking, hey man, I have clothes.
I know.
Like, why go and like buy other people's clothes when I have clothes? I also want to style them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Myself. So I jumped on it, and then since then I've just been designing. I didn't work immediately afterwards on House of Stone. I kind of went into like visual merchandising for a luxury brand, so I did that for a year. And then last year is when I started full time. I realized, look, this is my only option, and I feel like I don't want to make a decision for myself, so basically life made a decision for me.
What are the setbacks?
There's been so many setbacks, but I think they're just learning curves, like learning opportunities. One, mindset, one, small community, three, I guess finances, you know, because I feel like
finances are usually everybody's reason for setbacks,
you know. But other than that, and maybe myself at times as well.
You were not yet there.
You know, so when you allow life to defeat you, it actually will.
That is
I think
true.
there was a period, I think there was a period I allowed things that were happening in my life to affect my progress, and it kind of like seeped into other things. So you can't think progressively. And that's why I feel like my latest range, which you're wearing now, which you look
Thank you, girl. I'm looking fabulous.
is a great reflection of what I was going through in my own life.
What else do you do besides fashion?
I do freelance visual consulting.
Okay.
That can be from like art directing, shoots, styling. I've done visual consulting for Fashion Weekend. When they first opened up their store, I did their setup and then their windows. And last year I set up a Fashion Weekend event that happened.
Nice. What exactly do you love about fashion?
I love the way it makes people feel.
Yeah?
You know, you put on that outfit. If I want to feel badass, like I'll pull out the dark lips, the leather jacket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's certain things you wear when you want to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And then like, if you're feeling all like, I'm feeling all like outdoorsy today, but just all floral. You're like, hey!
Exactly.
Like clothing has a mood and a feeling to it.
I agree with you. I 100% agree.
Yeah, and I also don't like the idea of confining someone to just one aesthetic.
But some people like that, hey?
Some people love it, but I feel like if they love it, let them.
But not me.
If others don't like it, let them too. Like, let people be free to express their many multi-dimensional personalities.
And what is your mantra, the words that you live by?
The words that I live by. Ka-ching!
There we go. I was just waiting for you to point at that.
Yeah.
So what does that say?
Peace, focus, and grace.
Peace, focus, and grace.
I probably should add like prayer up in there too.
What is a creative process like for you?
It's very sporadic. It's all over the place. I'll just keep it real. But it definitely always stems from inspiration. But the inspiration is never just from one source or like all the time.
Yeah.
One day can be nature. The next can be architecture. The next could be music. It varies depending on the season. Like right now, I have an idea for the range for next year, but who knows, by the time I actually started, it might have evolved into something else. In life, we have so many moments. If it was all up to one moment, then we'd all give up.
So where have you showcased your collections?
I showcased at Fashion Week, and then later on at Fashion Weekend, Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you consider your biggest career highlight right now?
You know what, I think I have many moments, but I don't appreciate my moments enough. I don't know.
You don't live in the moment.
Yes, that's the problem. I don't appreciate.
You're always running.
I'm always running and always think I can do bigger and better things. But if I have to be honest, managing to actually showcase in general at all the places I've showcased, and even having my degree, graduating to showcase end of year with all my other peers who I looked up to alongside them, that for me was great because it was very challenging. People don't actually understand how challenging fashion is.
So like many people associate the life of a designer with glitz and glam, but they don't actually know like a lot of how much work is actually put into all this.
Oh my goodness.
What is a typical work day like for you?
you know what? It's always hectic. You're always doing something. If you're not like focusing on the business, accounting, receipting people, invoicing people, sourcing fabric, you're on the machine sewing as well, you're making the pattern.
It is a business.
You're trying to find like clients, so thereby you're marketing. You're trying to make sure that like not only are you marketing yourself going out to the public, now you're using like all sorts of like social media platforms, so that's time too. There's just, and then planning for the future as well. You need to have time to plan for the future and where you want to go, otherwise you remain stagnant. So there's just so much to it. Sometimes I feel like, can I please have 5 of me?
I know.
That'd be fantastic.
Danayi's design signature, much like any creative journey, has evolved over the years. When she started out, she says she was vying for an urban vintage African vibe, but later opted to drop the vintage aspect, which she said was because it felt confining. After a season, she explored the concept of minimalism. Her latest collection, Equilibrium, was inspired by the mental space she was in at the time.
What zone were you in when you created this? I mean, it's different. I'm not seeing people with stuff like this.
Well, I think initially at the time, I was going through a lot in terms like professionally, and I felt like there's just so much noise and chaos happening in my mind. And I just wanted something that would bring me calm. I just want clean things. I don't want things with lots of print. I don't want things with noise. I just want a person to wear something that's simple, but it speaks volumes of that person.
Okay.
I kind of went for that whole less is more. I'm just so tired of the excess and the over the top. I just want something clean, peaceful, and just a breath of fresh air.
And I do like the colors that you chose.
Obviously, I had to throw in some color there for my people that love color.
Oh yes, I'm in love with this. I love canary yellow. I think it's such a happy color.
It is,
and
right?
it's like sunshine.
I'm just trying to remind people that I'm not depressed.
Danayi Chapfika is part of the new crop of young Zimbabwean fashion designers who are passionate about seeing the creative industry grow. We asked her what she would like to be remembered as in the fashion industry.
You know, I like people to feel like when I came through with Haus Of Stone, a label that was just different, that pushed boundaries and made people look at fashion differently, that told people that it's okay to be different and to want to dress differently, to express yourself differently.
You don't have to follow trends that are out there.
Yeah, and more so, I want to feel like I brought, I guess, concept-driven design to them.
What challenges have you faced within the Zimbabwean fashion industry?
The fact that we don't have a community culture within our creative field. I guess it's sort of culture. Yeah, I guess it's sort of like that.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean like when we look at other, like our neighbors, South Africa, in terms of the design industry there, the reason why it's doing so well is because they band together and they moved together.
Right.
Being able to collaborate with other creatives, being able to collaborate with other designers and make it work.
Okay.
We really know about the industry in Zim. Like we have this thing where we start something, then somehow breaks apart. There's one team there, there's another team there, and I feel like that's not going to help grow our industry. We need to work together in order to grow it. It's almost like a revolution that where all these artists or designers band together, like we're
so
sick of this.
Then that would be some form of an association, wouldn't it?
I think putting it in an association is just less of a revolution.
Okay.
You know what I'm trying to say? You sometimes need to get a little bit mad about things in order for you. Things need to get a little bit dirty and ugly. People need to speak out a little bit more, but they need to speak out together. One person speaking out about something is not really going to cause a movement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do about that? Because, it's always nice to have an idea of a solution of some sort.
I feel like I've tried and I will continue to try to work with other creatives, to collaborate, to just almost have one voice together and grow together and know that, look guys, it's enough for all of us to be a success.
So how do you make your money as a designer?
I do have a few people that really invest in my work and believe in my work, but right now it's not enough. So therefore that's why I do other things as well on the side.
So what platforms are necessary to give rise to the untapped talent we have in Zim to get them out there?
In terms of fashion design, we do have platforms like Zim Fashion Week and Fashion Week in Zimbabwe. I think obviously, they're still growing. They're still also trying to understand what their actual role is at times.
Yeah.
And that is the process of anything, especially when we're such a baby within the whole fashion context on a global scale. We're actually a baby, we're just born. So we do have a long way to go, and those are the kind of institutions that we do need to help propel us. At the same time, designers also need to be able to work together to propel each other in the industry. For example, in Zim right now, we struggle with shipping.
Yes.
Thereby meaning, like, look, if we want to tap into an outside market, the idea of us shipping a garment for $100 when the actual value of it is $50, then you have to put a price of $150. It doesn't make it practical. It doesn't make good business sense. But whereas if designers manage to band together, maybe somehow we could come good approach a shipper together. So stuff like that. I think also legislation, certain legislation kind of rules and regulations must change. It would be nice to have an association. If it was there, I could definitely be a part of it, but to be the forefront.
Hey, you've given someone an idea, so that's perfect.
No, someone's passionate, and I think there are those people that are passionate. Nothing happens overnight.
Well, you know what? We're still a small industry. You know, we're teething. I'd say maybe we're calling. I don't know how grown your baby is, but yeah, I think there is room. We're going to improve. Things will look up. And now you are officially off the record, girl.
Whoop, whoop.
Thank you so much for bringing us into your space and like letting us kick it with you and just see who you are.
Well,
really had a good time. Thank you very much. So that was Danayi Chapfika, House of Stone, as you saw for yourself. It was a great time. I hope that you got to know her as well as I did. And see you next time. In the meantime, do not forget to live your dreams. Ciao.
Yeah.
So, who are the other style icons that you grew up and thought, yeah, well, wow?
You know,
I'm sure loads of people will be like, girl, hook me up.
Like that.
Face as nature.
You know what? I'm feeling myself.